Very good evening, students. Okay, so let's begin with the session. So first of all, I welcome each one of you to my YouTube session on Muslim law. Let's start with my brief introduction first. My name is Sandeep Khatri. I've done my law from University of Mumbai and my LLM from Jindal Global Law School. By profession, I'm a teacher. I'm teaching law for more than 5 years now. My areas of specialization, as you can see on the screen as well, the constitutional law, criminal law, commercial law, family law, and law of torts. Here is the link of my profile, students. Please do follow that to get all the updates about my special classes and my plus courses. And I've also shared the link of my Telegram channel where you can connect with me and ask questions. At last, I have mentioned my code, that is KHATRILIVE, which you can use to get 10% discount on all the plus courses and also to get free access of all the special classes. So this was about me. Now I request everyone, please be attentive, and this is going to be an interactive session. So the moment you feel you are not clear with anything, feel free to write your questions in the comments and I'll answer accordingly. Okay, so students, as you know, we are already done with the concept of talaq. If you have any questions, anything in your mind which you are not clear with the concept of talaq, you may ask. Yes, please. Or if not, quickly give me a thumbs up. I'll start with a new topic, that is of acknowledgement in Muslim law. So if you have any questions, you may ask. Okay, so I am starting with a new concept, that is of acknowledgement. When we say acknowledgement, this is important for to know about the parentage. So let's make a simple chart to make things clear. So when I use this term parentage, we actually mean that who is the father, about the paternity, the father, and the next one is about the maternity. So the question of parentage arise if a person don't know about the who's the father, who's the mother, or there is inconsistency between the facts, or if there is a conflict between the fact, then there comes the role of this concept, that is parentage, which basically tells you that who has the paternity and who has the maternity. When it comes to paternity option, this can be known with the help of marriage or acknowledgement. And this is our concept, students, the concept of this class, which we are going to study in detail. What is acknowledgement? So acknowledgement basically helps you in knowing the paternity, which helps in parentage. And the next topic which we are going to discuss is about the marriage. So when we say marriage, that marriage must be valid, or even in the cases of irregular marriage. So let's take one example. If there is a person and he got married with a woman, and if there is a child, then obviously because of this marriage, he will be treated as a father of that child, which means the paternity and the concept of parentage. But that marriage must be valid, or even in the cases of irregular as well. That must not be void. That must not be void. That should not something which should have taken place. If there is a void marriage, that will never ever considered as a paternity. Now coming to about the maternity, the concept of maternity. When we say maternity, we can again further divide it into two parts. The first part is under Sunni law. Under Sunni law and under Shia law. When we say under Sunni law, it is basically we are talking about by birth. And when we say under Shia law, we are basically talking about lawful marriage. Now I'll take some examples to explain this concept by birth and by lawful marriage. So the thing is, if the question is about maternity, that who is the mother, when it comes to Sunni law, if a woman has given birth to that child, then by birth she is going to be considered as the mother. But when it comes to Shia law, it is not by birth, it is by lawful marriage. If she has if she has a lawful marriage, she will be considered as a mother of that child. Now I have explained you all these concepts, like this one, we are done, and this as well. So if you have any question from this part, please. And now we are going into the details of this concept, that what is acknowledgement. So this was basically the all introduction of the concept of acknowledgement, that how acknowledgement can help in the concept of parentage. So before entering into acknowledgement, if you have any doubts, and if no, you can quickly give me a thumbs up. I'll move to the next topic, that is acknowledgement. And if you are not clear with anything, feel free to ask questions. Yes, please. Students, please do respond so that I get an idea. Okay, then on that note, I am moving to the next topic, that is our acknowledgement. When I use this term acknowledgement, what do I mean by this? What is the meaning of this concept? So this term is also known as Iqrar-e-Nasib. Iqrar-e-Nasab. Now, what is this concept all about? This concept is basically, if suppose this is the child and we need to figure out who is the father of this child, and there comes Mr. A, and Mr. A acknowledge this. Mr. A acknowledge this fact that this child C belongs to him, then we will consider A as his father. Then we will consider A as his father of C. So this is basically the meaning of the concept of acknowledgement, which is also known as Iqrar-e-Nasab. Now continuing with this. The next point which you should know about the concept of acknowledgement is that this is irrevocable. This is irrevocable in a sense that once the acknowledgement has been done, that cannot be revoked. That acknowledgement cannot be revoked. Which means, suppose on a one particular date, let's take one example to understand this. So suppose we give a name to Mr. F. Now this F actually give the acknowledgement that S is his son. F give this acknowledgement that S is his son. Now the question is, later on, can F back out on this acknowledgement? Can F revoke this? So this is something which is irrevocable. Once if the F has made the acknowledgement, then he will be the only one who will be considered as the father of that child. Now coming to some other important concepts of acknowledgement one by one. The first one is, if this is the person that should, the first point is zina. Now first you need to understand the meaning of this term zina. Now zina means illicit sexual intercourse. So if there is a person, so suppose let's take an example, Mr. F, and he has a illicit sexual intercourse with some woman, and they have a child. So that child is because of the zina, and in that case, there cannot be a concept of acknowledgement. So acknowledgement will not work there. The status of that child is going to be only the child is going to be illegitimate child only, and acknowledgement will not make him his child. So the first point is regarding the concept of zina. The second important point here is, if suppose Mr. A claims that he is the father of this child C, in this scenario the paternity already known, though in that case Mr. F or any other person cannot claim cannot use the concept of acknowledgement and cannot acknowledge that C is their child, which means one of the condition precedent for the concept of acknowledgement is that the paternity of the child must be uncertain. Only if the paternity of the child is uncertain, then only we can use the concept of acknowledgement and someone can be the father of the child. Fine. So this is the second formality, or you can say the important points regarding or you can say the essential conditions for the concept of acknowledgement. Now coming to the third one. The third one is basically whosoever is doing the acknowledgement. So suppose Mr. F is doing the acknowledgement of this child C, that this is his son. So there must be a difference of age. And what difference? The difference of at least 12 and a half. So there should be age difference of 12 and a half between the person who is doing the acknowledgement, that is F, and the child. If that difference is less, then that person cannot acknowledge this. Okay, so that is your third condition for the concept of acknowledgement. Moving to the next one, the fourth one. The fourth one says, once the acknowledgement has been done, after acknowledgement, now this C is the child of F, and this C has all the rights of inheritance. C has all the rights of inheritance, that once if F died, then C will get all the inheritance rights in the property of F. So that is your fourth condition. Next one. The fifth one is, this acknowledgement can be disregarded, or you can say this acknowledgement can be repudiated by the child once the child has grown up. When he has, now there is no age that has been mentioned here, but overall the concept is once the child has been grown up, and if the child is in the situation that, or if he has faced kind of some if he has not a very good experience with the father who has acknowledged him as his son, then in that case he can actually has all the rights to repudiate the acknowledgement. So C has all the rights to repudiate the acknowledgement. Now anything which you are not clear with from the acknowledgement part, so these all are the conditions. These all are the 5 conditions which you can read when it comes to the concept of acknowledgement. Yes, anything which you are not clear with. Yes, students, anything which is not clear to you, and if it's all clear, quickly give me a thumbs up. I'll move to the next topic. Atul, you are asking about first. The first one is related to, okay, I'm giving you an example for this, Atul. The first condition for the concept of acknowledgement is that suppose if there is a father and he wants to acknowledge a son, that this son belongs to me, I am his father. In that case, that son should not be the result of zina. Zina means illicit sexual relationship. So if the child is because of the zina, then the acknowledgement concept cannot work there. So basically, if I need to conclude this whole concept, that is, the child acknowledged must not be offspring of illicit intercourse or void marriage. If there is a void marriage, suppose this is H, this is wife, and they have a child C, okay, but their marriage was void, or if there is no marriage, in both the cases, if there is no marriage, that is the case of zina, and they have a child, in that case this person cannot acknowledge C as his own son because of zina, or I have given you second example, because of void marriage. I hope it's clear, Atul. Waiting for your confirmation, Atul, so that I can move to the next topic. Anyone, if you have any question related to the concept of acknowledgement, you may ask. Okay, thank you, Kanika. Now moving to the next topic. Chali. So the next topic is about the adoption. I hope everyone do understand the concept of adoption. The meaning of adoption. Fine. So adoption is something which has been recognized when it comes to Hindu law. But what is the status of the concept of adoption when it comes to Muslim law? So let's take one example here. So suppose there are two families. This is husband, this is wife, and they have a child C. And there is another family H1 and W1, and they don't have any child. So the thing is, can this family H1 and W1 adopt this C in their family? When it comes to Hindu law, they do have there's a codified law, Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. Okay, we all know about that. But when it comes to Muslim law, there is no such concept called adoption. Okay, Muslim law basically does not recognize the concept of adoption. Fine. There is a okay. Now coming to one landmark judgment which deals with this case. So I'm telling you the name of the case first, and after that we will discuss that. So the case is about Shabnam Hashmi versus Union of India 2014 Supreme Court. So it's a landmark judgment where the Honorable Supreme Court of India decided about this fact that what if any Muslim wants to adopt? So as I have just told you that Muslim law does not have any concept. So in this case, what laws are going to be applicable? So the Honorable Supreme Court of India in this case held that yes, they can adopt. But then the next question was, what about the law? Obviously, because they are Muslim, the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act cannot be applied on them. So what? Anyone who likes to answer this, what law will be applicable on them? In that case, Juvenile Justice Act will be applicable on this, and yes, adoption is possible. So there's a separate chapter of adoption that will be applicable on this case, and even in cases of Muslims, they can also adopt. But yes, as far as Muslim law is concerned, there is no such concept because Muslim law does not recognize the concept of adoption. Okay? That's it. Yes, Kanika, correct answer. So any question from the concept of adoption and acknowledgement? We are done with both the concepts. Yes, please. If it's all clear, quickly give me a thumbs up. I'll move to the next topic. Or I guess we can discuss some questions as well. So there is a mains question as well, which we can discuss now. So in the mains examination, you usually get this question, that what is the difference between the concept of acknowledgement and adoption. Anyone who likes to answer? So in case of acknowledgement, the child against whom the acknowledgement has done, this is of the same parents. This is from the same parents. But when it comes to the concept of adoption, there are other parents. Obviously, if someone has a child, he cannot adopt his own child. He is already the father. So that is the case of your acknowledgement. Okay. Next one. Muslim law recognized this concept. This concept has been recognized by Muslim law. But this concept has no recognition. Anything else, students? Any difference? Okay, that's we are already done, Kanika. Anything else? There is no need of consent of any other person. See, acknowledgement is something, the father who is already the father of the child, he is by own acknowledging his own child. But when it comes to adoption, you need consent. Consent of the person. Consent of the father, the real father and the mother. So here you do need the consent of parents whose child you are adopted. Okay? Anything else? Fourth difference. When it comes to the concept of acknowledgement, there should be age difference of 12 and a half years. I've just told you the difference must be, the 12 and a half years. And if you have read this related to the adoption, the difference must be 21 years. If any bachelor is having the adoption, okay, if the married one, obviously there is no such requirement. Okay. Acknowledgement also, if a father is acknowledging the child, that acknowledgement also work as acknowledgement to the marriage. Also work as acknowledgement of marriage. Okay. And there comes not that case. Not so in adoption. Yes, please. Anything else? Atul, adoption is only in Hindu law. There is no such concept. So the difference जो exam में आपके आता है, so the difference that has been asked in your examination, that is of this only कि what is the difference between the concept of adoption and acknowledgement. Adoption का तो concept ही नहीं है, तो आप difference कैसे करोगे? अगर ये मैं differences ना करूं, बाकी सारे differences ना करूं, तो आपका तो एक ही difference रहेगा यहाँ पे. You will only write कि there is no such recognition. ठीक है? ये other parents का concept, consent of parents, 21 years, not so in adoption, these all are the concepts of adoption only from Hindu law. Okay, so you have to write them. Okay. JJ Act में भी same है क्या? JJ Act में भी same है क्या? See, in JJ Act, when you will read Atul, you will find a separate chapter. Okay, you will find a separate chapter which talks about adoption. Okay, so all those sections will be applicable if a Muslim is going through an adoption, and this is because of Shabnam Hasmi versus Union of India 2014 Supreme Court. That's it. Okay. So basically, there is no legal restraint on Muslims because of that judgment. Muslim couples, if they also want to adopt, they can adopt. Very good evening. Sakshi, the class starts at 7. Okay. Chaliye. Anything else, students? Anything else which you are not clear with? Yes, Atul, Kanika, if you still have any doubt, you may ask. Okay, one more thing about the acknowledgement. When it comes to acknowledgement, this can be express and this can be implied as well. Okay. So express in the sense it may be oral or it may be written. And implied when the person act like as a father. Okay. When the person, the conduct is showing that he is playing the role of the father of the child. So even in that case, that will be a valid acknowledgement. So acknowledgement can be expressed when he is orally saying this, that I am acknowledging this child as my child, or written, or by conduct in the sense he is habitually doing all those duties which usually done by the father. So that is your implied acknowledgement. Done. And when it comes to legitimacy, students, you can also read section 112 of the Indian Evidence Act with this concept as well, because Indian Evidence Act is something which will apply on both when it comes to Hindu law and Muslim law. If the paternity is something which is in the question, then section 112 will also play its role. If the acknowledgement has been done, then obviously there is no need of section 112. But if acknowledgement has not been done and the parentage is not known, in that case, for the paternity, you can use the concept of section 112, which is obviously will also work something like the conclusive proof. And yes, that is also you can read with this concept. Okay. That's it. कनिका, यू आर आस्किंग अबाउट सर नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज्ड वाले पॉइंट के साथ ये भी लिख सकते हैं क्या, दैट इट्स नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज्ड इन मुस्लिम लॉ बट बाय द वर्च्यू ऑफ जेजे एक्ट? नो, नॉट बाय द वर्च्यू ऑफ जेजे एक्ट. जेजे एक्ट में कहीं पर भी नहीं लिखा हुआ है कि दिस विल अप्लाई ऑन द मुस्लिम लॉ. इट इज, आप ये लिख सकते हैं टू कंप्लीट योर कॉन्सेप्ट दैट the concept of adoption is not recognized in Muslim law, but by the virtue of Shabnam Hashmi versus Union of India in the 2017, the Supreme Court held that the JJ Act will be applicable on the adoption, and if any Muslim couple wants to adopt, they can go for it. There is no legal restraint on that. Done? Clear? Done, Kanika? Yes, students, anything? I am almost done. Not almost, everything is done. So we are done with the concept of parentage and acknowledgement under Muslim law. And if you don't have any questions, so I'll conclude the wrap up the class now. So I have two important announcements to make, students. So this is the link of my profile and you can find two important classes there. Tomorrow I'm going to on Saturday and Sunday as well at 2 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday as well. I'm going to take a class on current affairs, and at 5 p.m. I'm going to take a class on history, and I've already started with ancient history. This is tomorrow, which class I'm going to take at 5 p.m. History at 5 p.m. both days, Saturday and Sunday. Current affairs at 2 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday. Okay. History, I'm already done with 2 classes. This is going to be the third class. So if you want to watch the previous classes, you may go to my profile and go check for those classes as well. Okay, which I took on the last weekend. On last Saturday and Sunday, I have taken those classes. All you need to do is just use this code KHATRILIVE and you can get the access of those classes. Okay, you don't need any kind of subscription for that because these are your special classes. And tomorrow also, this is a special class. Okay. There's also a special class going on MP MCQ test series, in which I'm already done with the 2 tests. One is of criminal law, the second one was of contract and SRA. Okay, for the upcoming schedule, for the upcoming test, you may refer this Telegram channel where I've already updated the detailed schedule of the test. Okay, done. Okay, Sakshi, you are asking about, sir, Muslim law में कौन से act देखने होते हैं? So there is only one bare act of Muslim law, and there is one is the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act, the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939, first thing, and the second one, which you can see, is the Muslim Personal Law Shariat Application Act 1937. So only these 2 acts are here related to your judicial syllabus. One more announcement, students. Kanika, because you were present in the last class as well. So there is an announcement that in the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act, there is an amendment. There is an amendment, 2019 amendment, and because of that, leprosy is no more a ground for to take the divorce. Okay. The Muslim woman protection. I don't think so. Have you seen any question, any PT or mains question from that act? Kanika, have you seen any question from that? Atul, for mains, for the purpose of our mains, you have to maintain the notes. Okay. For mains purpose, you have to maintain the notes. First thing. Second, you have to go through with all the previous year questions and a proper textbook as well. So I'll be super honest with you. These classes will not be sufficient. This classes will give you an idea. So basically the objective here is to take your doubts, to take your questions. Okay. That suppose if you are, so these classes are basically if you are preparing yourself, okay, for the exam and you are done with this chapter, but still you have, questions in your mind. So that questions you may ask in this class. Yes, साक्षी, ये सारे आपको एक ही बेयर एक्ट में मिल जाएंगे. See, I can show you as well if you can see. See. Done. This is how the bear act looks like. Okay. No, Kanika, that cannot be the logic if the act came in 2019. As see, when we say, okay, let me tell you, let me make this point very, very clear. Student, when it comes to Muslim law, this is not that codified as compared to Hindu law. Okay, first thing first. So when it comes to the Bare Act, I have seen questions from section number 2 only when it comes to the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act. And yes, in PT, I have seen some questions like how many sections are there, total sections in the Shariat Act. So there are only 6 sections. And in mains examination, I have seen write a short note on Shariat Act and what are the grounds as per to section number 2 which are available for this. So that is why on the basis of that, I am telling you only these 2 acts are here important as far as your exam is concerned. Done? Done, Kanika? Okay. So let's conclude this now. No, Sakshi, you have to go through with a proper textbook as well. Let me make this point clear. See, Muslim law is not that codified. And when I pass this term not codified, then how can you rely on the Bare Act? You cannot rely on the Bare Act. There are only two things which are important for you. One is section number 2 of the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act, and if you want to go through with the whole act, you can choose to be that as well. And the next one is your this Shariat Application Act. That's it. Okay. And Kanika, triple talaq, the question on the triple talaq is basically from the Shaira Bano, not from the Bare Act. Okay, if you are getting question on the triple talaq, talaq ul biddat, then you will get questions from the theoretical part. There is nothing which has been mentioned in the act related to triple talaq. For that matter, Kanika, you may go for that. But again, it is not that relevant. Okay. So whether it is your PT or your mains, you need a proper textbook, and usually it is Akil Ahmed, which I refer to the students. Okay. Chaliye. On that note, let's conclude the class. So let's crack PCS J with an academy, compete with thousands of aspirants, and stand out from the crowd. You will get all the subjects here, students. All the major minor subjects are available for you. These are some special class features. This is the pricing plan and the plus subscription. Once you got the subscription, you can attend all these classes by the different educators. This is the YouTube and the Telegram channel of Unacademy. Sir, Hindi mein koi book bataiye. Sorry, Sakshi, I'm not aware with any book that is available in Hindi. So, okay. Chali. On that note, do like, share, and subscribe. And yes, it's time to say peace.